Hi guys, it's Hani from HANIELA'S. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna show you how to make gingerbread haunted house for Halloween. For this project you'll need gingerbread dough to make the gingerbread house, and you can use gingerbread dough that I like to use. It's posted on my blog and you can find it by looking in the description area down below. There is a link to this recipe. For the template for the gingerbread house parts, I use a template from Sweetopia. And what I did, I also altered shape of the door a little bit, and then I made the windows. For the windows, we're gonna fill these with ISOMALT. If you don't have ISOMALT, you can also try using hard candy. I haven't tried hard candy, but I hear it works. This is ISOMALT sticks that I got, and I'm just gonna break it a little bit into smaller pieces, and then just follow the directions that came with the ISOMALT that you bought and melt this. I actually melted this in microwave, and as you see it's kind of foamy on the top. That's okay. I'm just gonna stir it for a little bit and then it will clear. And now we're ready to pour this into the cavities. Put a piece of parchment paper underneath. Do not use wax paper. I've tried it, it doesn't work. And then once you fill the cavities, you wanna let it sit for about 10 minutes or so, until once you flip it and touch the surface, it's kind of room temperature or lukewarm. You can peel it off. So now we're gonna break the windows. This is how the monster got in. He broke in through the windows. So we gotta break the windows. I'm gonna make a little hole here. And you can repeat this on the other side if you'd like to. And now we just have to ice all the cookies. I'm gonna divide this into sections, like I'm doing here, and then you want to ice every other section and then let it crust or dry, and then fill in the remaining sections. And you have to repeat this on the other window part as well. For the front of the house, I'm using the same technique, but I'm also including a hole in the wall. That's the star shape. That's gonna be the opening. And now you just have to let the gray area dry completely. And meanwhile, you can flood. These are the chimney parts. And now I'm just gonna fill this with black royal icing. And then you can, if you'd like to, you can add some sanding sugar. Alright, once everything is dry, so we can add monster skeleton hand or zombie skeleton hand, whatever your preference is. And then he's got bloody hands, so I wanted to just include some blood dripping from his hands. And also add some blood to the windows. That's how he got in. So he cut himself or something, so there's gotta be some blood. And then on the back of the house, I'm just gonna make a really big spider web. And with the spider web, you also have to have spider. So for the spider, I'm using royal icing transfer. You can find how to make the royal icing transfer in my other video. And just put a little bit of icing on the back of it, and then stick it directly onto the cookie, like that. Now I'm just doing some monster eyes. And then you can finish off adding legs to the spider. Alright, so spider is done. Almost. Alright. Then you also have to flood the door. And then you have to let everything dry. As such as you can let it dry overnight. And then you can add bones. Alright. A little more blood dripping. For the handle I'm using a little black pearl, and I'm gonna put a little blood on a handle as well. Alright, this is small bell shape, and I'm just gonna ice several of these. These will be tiny little ghosts that we're gonna use to finish off the gingerbread house. I'm also gonna be using royal icing ribbon roses. If you haven't made these before, here are a few tools. You can use flour nail or a meat thermometer. And what I have here is a petal tip, and I fitted the bag with a petal tip, and I filled it with medium stiff royal icing. And you also need to have some small parchment wax paper squares, and just put a double-sided tip on the flour nail, and then with a narrow part of the petal tip facing up, you can start piping ribbon roses. And then you can just peel it off, and you have to let it dry for several hours. Once dry, a royal icing ribbon rose will peel off the wax paper. So, and now we can assemble the gingerbread house. For the assembly, I'm using a small 6-inch round cake board. I made this. You can also buy these in a store. And then we're just gonna use stiff royal icing, and we're gonna glue everything together. So I'm starting with the front of the house, and I'm just gonna hold it with my hand, and then we can add sides. So you can add the side. This is the first side of the house, and then it's actually standing on its own. So I'm just gonna turn it, and I'm gonna add another side. Like that. And then we just have to stick in last piece. And now you have to let it dry to support the sides so they don't go anywhere. You can use anything that works. Anything that works, and let it dry for I don't know, 4 hours or so, and then you can add the roof. So, as you notice, we haven't decorated the roof at all. I'm gonna do that once we assemble the house. As you see, I also made a little hole. Well, it's kind of a big hole, but there's a hole in the roof, so And then you have to support this again from the bottom, just so the roof parts, they don't slide off. And then just let it dry again for a couple hours. To decorate the roof, I'm using medium stiff rail icing and leaf piping tip. And you're gonna pipe this on both sides of the roof. I'm just gonna show you how to do the first side, and then you're gonna repeat that on the other side as well. So now we can add the chimney. I'm starting with the front of the chimney, again using stiff rail icing as glue, and just build it up. Alright, so it looks like it's holding together now. It's time to decorate sides of the house with some flower vines. I'm using round piping tip. And you want to pipe this all over on all the sides. And then using leaf piping tip, just add a little bit of leaves. And if you remember those ribbon roses we made earlier, now it's time to add them to the vines. You also want to add some on the chimney. Alright, so also decorate the bottom of the cake board, and then make sure you add the door. Leave it ajar because we're gonna add ghosts. I'm gonna add 3 ghosts on top of each other peeking out. Alright, so last one. And then although they kind of look like they're gonna hold, I'm gonna support the bottom one just in case they don't slide, they don't fall apart until it's dry. So now we have 4 more ghosts. So 2 ghosts are gonna go into the chimney. And then also into the hole that I made in the roof. And then I recommend that you let everything dry and do not touch, do not move it for 8 hours or so. Best to leave it be overnight, and then you can display this gingerbread house. My mind is haunted now. I'm making gingerbread house and I'm thinking of a cake. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to give it thumbs up, subscribe, and you'll get all the video updates delivered to you via email. Thanks for watching. See you next time.